In this video, I will educate Rachel on the regret theory and possible consequences avoidance can have. I will explain the fear and anxiety that may appear when trying to make a change in her life by either adding or subtracting a behavior. I will demonstrate the overcoming regret avoidance intervention and walk through the worksheet with the client to answer any questions before she does it as a homework assignment. The intervention will give the client the tools to become more aware of ways she may be placing more emphasis on reducing potential regret than on maximizing potential gain. Here's some background information about the client, Rachel. Rachel is a 21-year-old Caucasian female in her last year as an undergraduate student. She has a boyfriend of a year and debates if this relationship should continue due to the increased number of disagreements lately. She presents with symptoms of anxiety, including racing thoughts, difficulty concentrating in her classes, and constantly feeling on edge. She states that her thoughts are surrounding her relationship problems and not knowing what she should be doing. Rachel is currently struggling with her grades and has started to isolate herself from her friends because of the fear of being asked about her relationship. She believes she can work through any problems and does not believe in giving up on any aspects of her life. Hi, Mariah. How are you doing today?
Good.
Well, this is now our third session, so I kind of want to just talk about what we had been talking about in session about like relationships and relationships with other people and your relationship with your boyfriend. How is that going right now?
I'm just like really unsure if I want to stay in the relationship. I don't know what I should do.
So it's more of, it sounds like there's like some indecisiveness.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're indecisive, you may want to stay in this situation because the fear of like what's going to happen if I do make a change. So then you may not make a change. So there's kind of that fear of regret. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you ever have some fear of regret?
Yeah, what if I break up with him and I really regret it, I really miss him, and I can't really go back? Yeah.
So we sometimes find ourselves like avoiding those. So instead of trying to change, maybe even if you're feeling unhappy, there's this fear of like what's going to happen if we do break up. There may be sadness, there may be regret that you didn't stay with him.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, because I did find a worksheet and intervention to kind of work through this, kind of to see what ways we are avoiding, what ways fear comes up with that avoidance. Would you be open to working on that?
Yeah.
Would you want me to write it, or did you want to write it?
You could write it.
Okay. So I want to leave it open to you. Just a decision that you're considering or had considered. It could be the one that we just spoke about, or it could be something else.
I think the one with my boyfriend's good.
Okay.
Do I want to break up with him or not?
Okay. So breaking up with your boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's hard because I'm having all of these different people saying different things. So I need to make a decision for myself.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And we can actually go right into this. One of them, so all of these ones on the left-hand side are different strategies that we choose in order to avoid. We decide different ways to avoid. Sometimes they're very creative. And these are some different ways that maybe we haven't thought about or talked about yet.
Okay.
So one of these is what have other people told me to do? Mm-hmm. And what are some examples of that?
I mean, I get mixed ones. I think people who know us well think that I should stick it out and try to figure it out. But other people who kind of hear an outsider, like a non-biased view, they'll say, you should just break up with him because you're always fighting.
Okay, so there's kind of these two differing comments that you're getting,
yeah,
which can make it even more confusing.
Yeah.
And how long have you waited and thought about this, about breaking up with him?
We've been dating for like a year now, and for the last couple of months, we've been fighting a lot, and I've been thinking about it. But for the last month, leaning more towards breaking up.
Okay. And when you think about that breaking up, is it difficult with all these people saying that you guys are good for each other and you should just stick it out and work it through?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to... I think it's not really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to be blind or something and not break up with him because we've had time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be that kind of person. So then when other people from kind of the outsider view tell me you should break up, I feel like I'm leaning towards that because it's probably the right one.
But there's still kind of that indecisive, like, what would happen?
Yeah.
There's a risk associated with it.
Yeah, giving up all that time, and we've known each other for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you ever kind of try to not think about it? Because I know when there comes up times that your decisions and you'd rather just kind of push it to the side.
Yeah.
How often would you say?
Oh, I mean, it's harder now because we're always fighting, so it reminds me, but all other times.
Kind of when you're not with him or...
Yeah. I do try to avoid thinking about it. It's easier that way.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I mean, we're not around each other now more because we're fighting all the time.
Yeah.
So, pretty often.
Okay. And we kind of touched on this one too, is like, let someone else make the decision. I'm kind of hearing that a lot of people are either telling you to stick it out or telling you just kind of, all right, let's move on. You guys are always fighting. Mm-hmm. Do you ever get this feeling of like wanting to have someone else make the decision?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a lot easier. Which I guess I am kind of adopting.
Yeah, and that it would be then lead you to be able to be like, oh, well, I didn't make the decision if something were to go wrong.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's bad. It sounds so bad when you say it, but I think you're right.
And it's something that we don't usually recognize or have awareness about. So this is what this worksheet's supposed to do, is like kind of elicit that awareness of we might be doing these things without even noticing.
Yeah, that is helpful.
And is there any times that you like seek out reassurance from friends, family members?
To break up with him?
Either direction.
Yeah. I guess if I'm thinking about it, yeah. And I mean, I'm talking to you about it, so yeah.
Who do you usually go to, like, kind of to get this reassurance?
Well, for like the last month, I feel like I've talked to you about it probably the most.
Okay.
Because everyone else is kind of tired of hearing about it.
And is there anything else that when we're talking about this that kind of comes to mind of different ways you might avoid that regret and not make the decision or stay with him even though there is a chance for you to change?
Are there ways of avoiding it? Not that I can see right now.
Okay. And we can always leave this one open for homework. If you say during this next week, if something comes up, then you can go ahead and jot it down right in here.
I could do that, yeah.
So how does it sound if you were to go ahead and use a different decision that you made already and go through this chart, and then we can talk about it next week?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay. Then I'll go ahead and see you next week.
Thanks.